a nice way to start our pole show off. A real promising heifer calf here. I love the length and extension. This one's definitely got some growing performance to her there as well. Moves really good off of her rear skeleton. Again, level and correct out of her hip. She may be just a touch more upright and maybe a little straighter in her shoulder and her knee, but she still handles it good enough and gives you an awfully good look. Young man does a nice job showing her. So again, nice way to start our red pole show off.
Over here on the low line side, two really nice heifers back out here for your division. Both single entries. I think both heifers have a lot of good qualities to attribute to their breeding programs. The heifer out of the first class, a heifer that you really got to appreciate for her balance and look. She's a female that's extremely square out in terms of her hip. She's a heifer that's really level in terms of her pin set. She too is a female, has some spring and curvature to that rib cage. She's got some depth to rib. She stands out in some substance of bone. Like I said, she maybe gets just a little clubbier in terms of her kind for me, which I mean by that, she gets a little shorter in terms of that side view. Like see just a little more length of spine maybe out of her. And if you ever watch her just ever so slightly, she wants to toe out on them front forelimbs when we set her in motion. But she is extremely attractive heifer with loads of hip and top to her. Going to make this young man a very good cow later on. Black heifer out of the second class, a heifer I really appreciate her extra length of body and growth. She's got a little more length to that cannon. She too is a female that's got some depth of rib. Too, I really like the way she's laid in through that shoulder. She's a really feminine made female. If I was going to change her, she gets plenty straight off of both ends. I'd like to see her move out just a little more athletically, but I like that extra length that she possesses. Two very nice heifers. I'll show you which one I like the best. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause.
Our first class winner in the red pole side was Silver Thorn N.A.I.L.E, shown by Caden Parks from Wingate, Indiana.
Does it open, Amanda? It kind of looks like no. I think you just have to look at it, Lane. I don't think it opens.
In the low line show, your spring heifer calf champion is entry number 3. Entry 3 is HYB Jolene Saul for 13, shown by Canterbury Hybrid Genetics of Petersburg, Illinois. And your reserve heifer, spring heifer calf champion is entry number 1, SRF Sunshine D11, shown by Shady Rest Farm of Petersburg, Illinois.
Just in time. Welcome, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Nice day.
good class here on the red pole side, and the female I elect to start with. I think she combines the things I like about the next two. She's one of the stouter heifers in this class that still has some width and squareness out of her hip and pins. And then you get to the side of her though, she's still one of the more skeletally extended females. It still offers some softness and depth to her body. I still like the way she gets out and travels there with some comfort and some flexibility. The other feminine, neat fronted one in here is the one we leave here in second. Really long-sided, very long and level and comfortable in terms of her spine and the way she handles it. Still sets down pretty good on her feet and legs. She gets a little flatter in her rib cage. You want to open her up, maybe give her just a touch more width to the base of her chest floor there as well, but a nice look, a nice silhouette to that one. Yeah, man does a nice job showing this one. A moderate frame one, and that doesn't bother me by any means. I love the width of this one. I like her foot and bone and the way she's built. If we could just make her a little better up front, a little longer and more extended there in terms of her front end, maybe we find a place or two higher for her, because I sure do love the body dimension and cow-like build that she possesses here. When we end up fourth in this class, she just became the green skinny one in this class. You love her look, you love her extension, just a little behind in terms of condition and body development at this point in the game. I think her better days are definitely ahead of her. But again, let's give them a nice round of applause. 4 nice heifers there in that class.
Over here on the low line side, 3 really nice heifers here in this class. Heifer I chose to start with, I think she combines the most positives. She's a female. When we set her in motion, that's where she separates herself from the other two. She holds her top line together quite nicely when she's in motion. She too tracks out some width off of both ends. She's a female that I really appreciate her length to side view. She's exceptionally long in terms of her spine. She's long and extended out in terms of her neck. If I was going to change this one, I'd maybe like make her just a little bolder through the center part of her rib cavity, and I maybe just like to power her up just a notch in terms of her bone, maybe square her up just a tick from hooks to pins. Young lady's heifer comes out in 2. I think a heifer I really like in terms of her width and dimension. She's a female that's really bold sprung in terms of her ribs, got a real nice cow look from the side. She's really level in terms of her lines. If I was going to change her, I'd like to knock her down just a notch in terms of her tail head set. She maybe gets just a little high there, maybe gets just a little straighter off that front shoulder, but a really nice female. Really like the heifer in 3 on the stand. She's a female that's extremely level in terms of her lines. She's ultra feminine in terms of her front. She too is a female that's got some width and dimension across that loin edge. When I get to analyzing this heifer on the move though, she gets just a bit more erect off them front forelimbs. She tends to want to get hocked in and just get a bit more narrow based when we get behind her. That's where I'd like to change her.
Here are the placings in the class number 3 of your low-line moderator show. First place is entry number 5, CABBDD, shown by Cab Farms Limited of Lexington, Ohio. In second place is entry number 6, CABB Daisy, shown by Cab Farms. And in third place is entry number 4, CABB Dandelion, also shown by Cab Farms of Lexington, Ohio.
Here in our selection for our first division here in our Red Pole show. Again, I've had a nice set of females within this division. All the 5 of them I like pretty well. To me though, probably the pair of them out of the bigger class, a very competitive class. They're just a little sounder and a little better there up front, probably just a little further along in their body. So we're going to keep that pair together. They'll be your grand reserve here in this division.
Really nice shorthorn cross heifer here. Can stand a lot of competition. A heifer I really appreciate the turn and shape to her loin edge. When you get behind her, she's definitely got a lot of lower stifle to her. She's extremely just wide all the way down in terms of through her chest floor and through her rear base. She too is a female that I like in terms of her levelness of lines. She's really attractive to look at from the side. She's a heifer, if I was going to change, I'd like to drop her down just a notch in terms of her flank, maybe square her up just a tick from her hooks to her pins, but extremely stout built individual.
And on the red pole side, Division I champion goes to entry number 6, MFF N. Shelley,
belonging to the Miller family farm from Finchville, Kentucky. Reserve Division 1 goes to entry number 7, DFM Emmett, M136, McCall Show Cattle, Shelbyville, Kentucky. The winner in the low-line moderator class number 4 is entry number 7, HYB Garnett D001, shown by Canterbury Hybrid Genetics of Petersburg, Illinois. We're now showing class 5 on the red pole side.
Didn't Danny bring another pepper in a bowl?
Two really nice heifers here in this second division in this moderator show. A lot of variance in type and kind. I wouldn't argue with anyone if they wanted to use either one of them. They both have a lot of good things to offer. Just a little different in types and kinds. It depends on the scenario that you set them in. The black heifer out of the first class, heifer just ultra feminine, just brings a real maternal look to the ring. She's really level in terms of her balance of depth from flank to flank. She too is a female that's got an exceptional amount of length of spine. The thing I like maybe a little bit better about the black heifer than the red heifer behind her is her length of pins. I think we get a little carried away in trying to get these cattle ultra square made sometimes, and we're giving up that length to do that, and that's very important, especially in terms of calving. I really like that look that she brings. I like her structural correctness. I would if I was going to change her. I definitely like to power her up. That's where the red heifer excels. She's got a little more width and dimension all the way through. But a really nice black heifer going to make an excellent cow, just really sound and functional. The red heifer out of the second class, like I said, she excels in terms of a muscle standpoint, a width standpoint. She's definitely the female that's got more width through that chest floor. She's got more width in terms of her rear base. She's a female, works a big old forearm. She's got a tremendous turning shape to that loin edge. She maybe gets a little coarser in terms of her shoulder, but anytime you're getting muscle in one, you're going to have a little more shoulder. What I'd like to change this one, so when we set her in motion, she wants to roll up in her pins just ever so slightly. I definitely like to lengthen her out from her hooks back. Maybe give her just a little notch more femininity look out through that front, but that's getting picky on a really nice one. Two excellent females here, a lot of give and take, depends on where you put your priorities. I'll show you which one I like the best. Let's give both these exhibitors a round of applause.
Here in our February class here in our red pole side, I don't think it's easy. I think both these heifers definitely have their merits and their advantages within this class, but just chose one. I love the extra feminine look that we get with the heifer that wins. Much more angular and better in terms of her shoulder and the way it fits onto her body. You get behind her, I think her pin width and squareness is still adequate enough. Maybe she's just a touch frailer at the ground. Obviously not as wide and bold as the darker colored heifer we're going to have here in second, but one that just gives you a really neat look there from the outside. Heifer we have here in second, obviously a bolder rib, a stouter made one. It's got a little more muscle shape to her there as well. I still like the way she puts her foot to the ground in terms of function. I think she's still loose and comfortable there. Just gets a little coarser for me up front. Want to see her more refined, a little more feminine as you study her through her head, neck, and shoulder there. But nice pair of heifers here in that class.
And the moderator side of the ring, the junior heifer calf champion goes to entry number 5. Entry 5 is CABB DD, shown by Cab Farms of Lexington, Ohio. And reserve champion in that division is entry number 6, CABB Daisy, also shown by Cab Farms of Lexington, Ohio.
And the placings for Class 5 on the red pole side. First place goes to entry number 10, MFF and Nancy, belonging to the Miller Family Farm. And second place, RMF Red Tulip, show by Alyssa Ledgerwood from Coal City, Indiana.
Really a nice single entry January heifer that we have here in this class. She may be a little moderate for some in terms of her frame, but boy, I love the way she's built. Talk about one that puts together some actual skeletal width and some substance to the center part of her body. Maybe one of the better structured females we've seen so far as well in terms of the way her shoulder is applied to her skeleton, where she sits at her knee. Definitely one of the better footed females we've had here in the ring as well. And so I think once you can get past maybe her being a little more moderate, that's a very, very valuable one. It has a lot to offer. We'll see how she stacks up here in our division.
And our single entry on the red pole side is exhibitor number 13, MFF Anne Marie, shown by Miller Family Farm from Finchfield, Kentucky. On the red pole side, we're now showing for Division II Senior Calf Champion.